Good afternoon. My name is Alexa, and today I'll be reading a short story. I hope you enjoy
The Beauty and
Let's
the
begin.
Beast. Once upon a time, in a far-off country, there lived a merchant who had been so fortunate in all his undertakings that he was enormously rich. As he had 6 sons and 6 daughters, however, who were accustomed to having everything that fancied, he did not find he had a penny too much. One day their house caught fire and speedily burned to the ground, with all the splendid furniture, books, pictures, gold, silver, and precious goods it contained. The father suddenly lost every ship he had upon the sea, either by dint of pirates, shipwreck, or fire. Then he heard that his clerks in distant countries, whom he had trusted entirely, had proved unfaithful, and at last from greed he fell into the direst poverty. All that he had left was a little house in a desolate place at least 100 leagues from the town, and to this he was forced to retreat. His children were in despair at the idea of leading such a different life. The daughters at first hoped their friends, who had been so numerous while they were rich, would insist on their staying in their houses, but they soon found they were left alone. Their former friends even attributed the misfortunes to their own extravagance and showed no intention of offering them any help. So nothing was left for them but to take their departure to the cottage, which stood in the middle of a dark forest and seemed to be the most dismal place on the face of the earth. As they were too poor to have any servants, the girls had to work hard, and the sons, for their part, cultivate the fields to earn their living. Rudely clothed and living in the simplest way, the girls regretted unceasingly the luxuries and amusements of their former life. Only the youngest daughter tried to be brave and cheerful. She had been as sad as any more when misfortune first overtook her father, but soon recovered her natural gaiety. She set to work to make the best of things, to amuse her father and brothers as well as she could, and to persuade her sister to join her in dancing and singing. But they would do nothing of the sort, and because she was not as doleful as themselves, they declared this miserable life was all she was fit for. But she was really far prettier and intelligent than they were. Indeed, she was so lovely she was always called Beauty. After 2 years, when they were all beginning to get used to their new life, their father received news that one of his ships, which he had believed lost, had come safely into port with a rich cargo. All the sons and daughters at once thought that their poverty was at an end and wanted to set out directly for the town, but their father, who was more prudent, begged them to wait a little, and thought it was harvest time, and he could ill be spared, determined to go himself to make inquiries. Only the youngest daughter had any doubt but that they would soon again be as rich as they were before. They all ordered the father with commissions for jewels and dresses, which it would have taken a fortune to buy. Only Beauty, feeling sure that it was of no use, didn't ask for anything. Her father, noticing her silence, said, "And what shall I bring for you, Beauty?" "The only thing I wish for is to see you come home safely," she answered. But this reply irritated her sisters, who fancied she was blaming them for having asked for such costly things. Her father, however, was pleased, but as he thought that at her age she certainly ought to like pretty presents, he told her to choose something. "Well, dear father," she said, "as you insist, I beg you that you will bring me a rose. I haven't seen one since we came here, and I love them so much." The merchant reached town as quickly as possible, only to find that his former companions, believing him to be dead, had divided his cargo between them. After 6 months of trouble and expense, he found himself as poor as when he started on his journey. To make it worse, he was obliged to return in the most terrible weather. By the time he was within a few leagues of his home, he was almost exhausted with cold and fatigue. Though he knew it would take some hours to get through the forest, he decided to go on. But night overtook him, and the deep snow and bitter frost made it impossible for his horse to carry him any farther.